Hey y'all, what's up? Eric Johnson back with y'all again with some breaking news coming from every social media site. I'm getting this information from Yahoo Sports. WWE WWF wrestling legend Hulk Hogan dies at age 71 today due to cardiac arrest. Terry Hulk Hogan Bollea died on Thursday, which is today. WWE announced he was 71 years old today. News of Hogan's passing has initially reported by TMZ, like always, per the outlet. Medical personnel were called to Hogan's Florida home for a cardiac arrest. Hogan is survived by his third wife, Sky Daly, and two children, Brooke and Nick. Hogan was married twice prior to Linda Claridge and Jennifer McDaniel. What's up, Q Smooth? How you doing, man? Just reporting on this news that Hulk Hogan passed away. Cause usually I'd be at work around this time, but I took a couple of days off from work because I wouldn't just say worn out, but I'm just trying to just chill for a while before the students come back from my job and stuff. This is breaking news. Everybody's been talking about it. I will be reading some like posts from Twitter and stuff because they can be real cutthroat when it comes to certain people passing away and stuff. And this has been a terrible week. We just lost Ozzy Osbourne a couple of days ago, and then we lost Theo from the Cosby Show. And it was real sad how that brother went out too. I didn't get a chance to, say anything about it. But rest in peace to Michael Jamal Warner. He died at 54. Seems like we're losing people this month. First, Michael Jamal Warner, which I just said, Ozzy Osbourne, and now Hulk Hogan. It's crazy. Yeah, man. It's real crazy. You gotta live life to the fullest, man. You never know when you're gonna be here today and then gone tomorrow. So you gotta live your life to the fullest. So it's just sad to see that brother go out like that. And I already knew Ozzy Osbourne. He was going through like health issues and stuff, but him just transcending into a different place. He don't gotta worry about the pain and stuff no more. So love him or hate him, Hulk Hogan was a legend in the wrestling industry. I know he had a lot of controversy, with the whole sex tape and, the whole thing that he said about, N words and stuff. But, you just take you just can't take what he did to the wrestling industry. He was a superpower when it came to like the WWF and the WWE era, especially when he got the WCW and he did that classic heel turn and he formed the NWO. So, he took it to a higher level in the wrestling industry. One of many legends that done passed away in the wrestling industry too. I really thought this story was going to be about, I would say Ric Flair though, but like, I don't know, man. I wouldn't say I wasn't expecting Hulk Hogan to pass though, but you can never be too sure when it comes to like, wrestlers and like different people in like the music industry and stuff. They can be here today and gone tomorrow. So you got to live your life to the fullest. Let me keep reading some more of this story. Although Hulk Hogan's professional career began in the late 1970s, his true explosion on the scene didn't come into the mid 1980s when he helped Vincent Kennedy McMahon, turn the then WWF from primarily a Northeast-based wrestling territory into a national brand and eventually a multi-billion-dollar company. During his initial run with Mr. McMahon's promotion, WWF, Hogan's popularity surged, making him easily the most famous and recognized wrestler during the period. Hulk Hogan's entrance, Real American, signature red and yellow gear, his catchphrase, "What you gonna do when Hulkamania runs wild on you?" and dubbing his fans as Hulkamaniacs, helped make him arguably the most popular babyface of all time. Although Hogan's matches followed a simple formula, offense near defeat, hulking up and ultimately winning, he remained the biggest draw WWF had at the time. WWE is saddened to learn that WWE Hall of Famer Hulk Hogan has passed away. This is on the WWE main Twitter page. It's saying that one of pop culture's most recognizable figures, Hulk Hogan, helped WWE achieve global recognition in the 1980s. Shout out to you, Sheik Knight. Yeah, rest in peace to Hulk Hogan. WWE extends its condolences to Hogan's family, friends, and fans. Hogan's most famous match came in 1987 when he wrestled Andre the Giant at WrestleMania 3, which was way before my time. I was born in 1994. Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant had wrestled several times in the past, but none of the previous matches were met with the anticipation of stakes that the showdown at the Pontiac Silverdome in that match. In an interview for the 2018 HBO documentary Andre the Giant, Hogan recalled the build-up to the show, saying that he wasn't sure if Andre would follow the plan for the match, allowing Hogan to win and breaking his kayfabe undefeated streak. Hulk Hogan body slammed Andre the Giant, and ensuring victory was defining moments in professional wrestling history. Hulk Hogan's run near to the top of WWE continued into the mid-1990s before he joined WWE's main competitor at the time, Ted Turner of World Championship Wrestling, WCW. Turner looked to make a splash, and growing his brand beyond the Southeastern Territory brought in Hogan and several other big-time talents. Hulk Hogan's first few years with WCW was largely forgettable before he became a star for another generation. Once the top babyface in the business, Hulk Hogan would transcend professional wrestling in 1996, turning heel for the first time in over a decade and forming the New World Order, NWO, baby. Scott Hall and Kevin Nash at Bash of the Beach in 1996, the NWO storyline quickly became the hottest in not just professional wrestling but pop culture at the time, propelling WCW into an 18-month run of beating Mr. McMahon's WWE and television ratings, the Monday Night Wars, for those who don't know. When Mr. McMahon eventually bought WCW and Hulk Hogan returned to WWE in 2002, he did so as his NWO Hollywood Hulk Hogan character, and once again captivating the crowd and audiences at WrestleMania 18, wrestling Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in an instant classic. That's probably one of the loudest matches I ever heard in my life. That WrestleMania 18 match with Hulk Hogan and The Rock. The crowd was just electrifying, and I wish I was there at that Pacific WrestleMania, because it's certain moments within the wrestling industry that can just make your spine shiver, and it will just live with you forever. So, that was a classic match between Hulk Hogan and The Rock. And thank y'all for showing up. I wasn't gonna do a live stream today, but then I heard about this situation that Hulk Hogan has passed away while I was at the store. My phone was almost dying. I was on customer service dealing with something from like midwaysports.com. So, I heard the notification that Hulk Hogan passed away. I thought it was clickbait because, a lot of people nowadays that just do like clickbait videos and stuff. But, it was a real thing once I seen TMZ and all the other social media websites talking about it. So, I just had to do my live stream on it. It says that Hogan would leave WWE again in 2003, wrestling for the numerous promotions, including TNA/Impact over the next decade. So, Hulk Hogan had different, personas in different like eras of like different generations could see him. He had a run in WWE, came back in 2002, left in 2003, went to TNA for a while. Then he came back in like the early 2010s, got in with TNA, that whole Fortune, storyline, Aces and Eights, so Hulk Hogan has been around for the longest, and it's just sad to report on this story, love him or hate him. So, Hogan appeared on and off in WWE programming, mostly major events such as WrestleMania and anniversary shows in the recent years. This will be a birthday month I won't forget. Yeah, man. This ain't gonna be a month that I will never forget, because you're losing a lot of legends, man. You're losing a lot of icons within music, pop culture, and especially, wrestling. Theo from the Cosby Show. You lost a rock legend, one of the founders, one of the main contributors to the death metal scene, one of many kings within that music genre, and you lost a wrestling legend in Hulk Hogan. Excuse me. Let me keep reading more of this story. Influential as a wrestler, Hulk Hogan utilized his status to cross over into Hollywood on several occasions. Hulk Hogan's first non-wrestling role came in 1982's Rocky 3 movie, excuse me, where he played Thunder Lips, a professional wrestler that Sylvester Stallone's character fights during a charity event. Hogan's most famous role came in 1993 film Mr. Nanny and in 1994 TV series Thunder in Paradise. Hulk Hogan's family also appeared on a reality TV series Hogan Knows Best in the mid 2000s. It says that scandals plagued Hogan over the years. In 1985, Hogan was involved in an incident with actor Richard Belez after Hogan placed Belez in a chokehold at the star's request. Belez passed out and suffered a head injury and sued Hogan nearly a decade later. Hogan's testimony was offered in the federal steroid trafficking trial against Mr. McMahon. So that was the steroid trial around that time. Most notably, in 2012, a clip from a sex tape involving Hulk Hogan and Heather Clem was published online by Gawker. Hulk Hogan sued Gawker, and after years long of litigation within court, he eventually reached a $31 million settlement. Then, once again, in 2015, the footage of the same sex tape was leaked on Radar Online in the National Enquirer, where Hogan was filmed using racial slurs and claiming he was a little racist. The incident caused WWE to cut ties with Hogan for several years before eventually reconciling their differences. One of Hogan's most recent appearances at Raw's Netflix debut in January was met with overwhelmingly negative reaction from the WWE fans. In recent years, Hogan expanded his platform into a memorabilia shop in Florida, as well as a beer company, Real American Beer, and was in process of launching a freestyle wrestling company, Real American Freestyle, alongside with his former WCW colleague Eric Bischoff. So he was about to promote a new wrestling company with wrestling icon legend Eric Bischoff. Hogan took a central role in the 2024 presidential election, delivering a speech at the Republican National Convention last August, which a lot of Democratic shields and buck dancers are still mad about, introducing former President Donald Trump on the final night. Despite criticism about his wrestling style and his transgenderishness transitions, Hogan remained a major draw and a influential figure for the industry. During his six-decade career in professional wrestling, Hogan won countless titles and was inducted multiple times in the WWE Hall of Fame, into numerous wrestling Hall of Fames. So yeah, man, I just wanted to report on this story. You know, wrestling has lost a icon, love him or hate him, a wrestling legend, Hulk Hogan. Let me see what Twitter is talking about when it comes to like the news that Hulk Hogan passed away, and I put it on my page too, on my Twitter page. If y'all haven't followed me already, Eric Johnson 1994 on Twitter, and I will put the link to my Twitter page on the on the chat, and I will put it on the jumbotron too before I end the space. Shout out to Kid Gravity. He reported on the story of Hulk Hogan passing away. Shout out to Jason Black on the Black Authority. He reported on the story. I don't know if he's going to talk about it or not, but I just wanted to give my ones and twos about this situation with Hulk Hogan passing away at the age of 71. And I will be reading some more stuff from his Wikipedia, because most likely they done updated it already throughout this process and this story breaking out of him passing away. I'm gonna go on mute for a couple of seconds. Just give me a couple of few ticks, and I'll come back in a minute. Yeah, you got a lot of people feeling real iffy about Hogan passing. Shout out to the One B. You can follow him on YouTube. He's a very influential music historian. He knows a lot about music. He plays music. Shout out to the One B. He says that the 8-year old in me is sad, but the grown real nigga in me says fuck this racist troglodyte. And yeah, TMZ and other social media websites are reporting the story that Hulk Hogan has passed away. Shout out to Rilla Perry too. He said Hulk Hogan died, y'all. He was 71, and he put up the dialogue and the words of the sex tape of Hulk Hogan saying that I'd rather that if she's gonna f a n word, I'd rather have her marry a 8 foot tall n word worth $100 million like a basketball player. I guess we're all a little racist effing n word. So that was the words that were used in that sex tape. So shout out to Rilla Perry. He's giving his ones and twos about Hulk Hogan. Let me just see if I can see some more other stuff. He said, since Hulk Hogan is trending in is dead, I want to share this audio of him saying how he's racist to a point, but F N words, you won't be missed. So, you got a lot of ones and twos and a lot of people, giving their thoughts about Hulk Hogan passing away. So I gave my opinion about it, and, everybody's reporting on it. Oh, yeah, happy birthday, too, to Linda Carter, guest starring on the Jackson's variety show. She's 74 years old today. I didn't know that. So I'm just going through like the timeline of different people talking about Hulk Hogan passing away. Fox News reporting on it too. So Fox News already reported on it. Shout out to the Chisel of Dundas. Hulk Hogan has passed away at the age of 71. Wrestling OPS via at TMZ for them reporting on the story. Shout out to the Chisel of Dundas too. He's a big time wrestling fan. And y'all can check out his channel on YouTube, The Chisel of Dundas. So shout out to him. And I will be putting my Twitter page link into the chat for y'all. Let me just go to my YouTube app and put it into the chat. And thank everybody for coming in and giving their thoughts and perspective about Hulk Hogan passing away. You're gonna have some people that love him, and you're gonna have some people that said fuck him. So I'm kind of half and half on it. So he was a wrestling icon, but he was saying some bullshit when it came to black folks and stuff. So I'm real iffy when it comes to certain stuff like that. They said that Hulk Hogan they said Hulk Hogan's severe with cardiac arrest. Oh yeah, that was right, Q Smooth. Shout out to you. And I did put my Twitter page link in the chat. So if y'all want to follow me on Twitter, y'all can follow me on Twitter. And I already know that the people in the chat already follow me on YouTube, so I don't really already gotta say anything about it. And just let me share this link to the Twitter world. I don't know if anybody can hear me or not. Let me just post it to my page. Because usually I would do a Twitter space about this, and I might do a Twitter space about it. So, yeah, y'all can just catch me on Twitter and see how everybody's taking this with Hulk Hogan passing. So, I'm just going to see what the waters are looking like. You're going to have a lot of folks saying, fuck him. He was a racist and stuff like that, though. But, I'm gonna just let the dude rest in peace. Everybody gonna have their perspective about Hulk Hogan and stuff. So I said what I had to say. So I'm kind of iffy about Hulk Hogan to a certain extent, but I can put it at, I don't know. It is what it is. But yeah, man. Let me go to his Wikipedia page and get some more information on Hulk Hogan. And I will be I don't know if I can put all his titles that he won in the chat because it's very limited because they give you a certain amount of words that you can put in the chat. Let me look up his Wikipedia, then put in Hulk Hogan. I was trying to use my headphones, but they keep disconnecting. So y'all just give me a couple of seconds. Let me just look it up. Just give me a couple of seconds while it's loading up. Just exit out of that. And I will be doing a Twitter space about this. And I'm just going to put out Hogan Dead at 71. Come in and give y'all thoughts and y'all memories. All right. Hulk Hogan was born August 11th, 1953 in Augusta, Georgia. He died today at the age of 71 in Clearwater, Florida. His occupations were a professional wrestler, television personality, and an actor. His years active was in 1976 throughout 2025. His spouses, Linda Cartridge, 1983. They divorced in 2009. Jennifer McDaniel, 2010. Divorced in 2021. And his last wife was named Sky Daly. They was married in 2023. His children, Brooke Hogan and Nick Hogan. His relative is Horace Hogan. I think he had like a cup of coffee. He had a run in WCW. I don't know if he was wrestling throughout other numerous wrestling organizations, but shout out to Wrestling with Regret too. I know he's gonna do a video on Hogan passing away. Shout out to Wrestling with Regret, Chisel Dunnis, Wet Culture TV. Shout out to all the wrestling YouTube channels, wrestling magazines, etc. So just shout out to all of them who covers wrestling. Shout out to Jim Cornette. Shout out to all the wrestling icons, the legends who paved the way for not only the younger generation, but the legends that came way before them. If fans or buts. So yeah. His ring name was Hollywood Hogan, Hollywood Hogan, Hulk Boulder, Hulk Hogan, Hulk Machine, Mr. America, Sterling Golding, Terry Boulder, the Super Destroyer. He was 6'7", weighing in at 302 pounds. From Hollywood, California, as Hulk Hogan. He was from Venice Beach, California, as Hulk Hogan, and he was from Washington D.C. as Mr. America. He was trained by Hiro Matsuda. I think he's Japanese, if I'm not mistaken. He debuted in August 9th, 1977, and he retired from wrestling in January 27th, 2012. Let me see. He headlined it 8 out of the first 9 WrestleManias. WrestleMania 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. He was in the main event of WrestleMania on numerous occasions, and he was a regular headliner on Saturday night's main event. In its spinoff, the main event, during his initial run, he was a 5-time WWF champion. In his 1,474-day reign, began being the longest of the WrestleMania era. He was the first wrestler to win consecutive Royal Rumble matches, winning it from 1990 to 1991. His match with Andre the Giant, which I talked about earlier, on WWF Saturday night's main event on February 5th, 1988. It said it holds the American television viewership records for wrestling with a 15.2 Nielsen rating with 33 million viewers. Okay, I talked about the WrestleMania match they had earlier, not about this main event being the most rated and the most viewed main event wrestling match in wrestling history, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see. Hogan returned in 2002 to the WWF following its acquire of WCW prior last year, 2001, winning the undisputed WWF championship for his record, equaling for the 6th reign before departing in 2003. He was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2005. He was inducted a second time in 2020 as a member of the NWO. He also performed for the American Wrestling Association, the AWA, where he headlined the inaugural AWA closed circuit supercard. Super Sunday in 1983 in New Japan Pro Wrestling. He was the inaugural winner of the IWGP Heavyweight Championship and in total nonstop action. During the after wrestling, Hogan had I talked about that already with his acting career. Let me see. Let me go to his championships because they're going through like different eras. New Japan Pro Wrestling era 1980 to 1985. World Wrestling Federation 1979 to 1981. And it says on the Wikipedia the earlier years 1977 to 1979. So they got like different eras of like Hogan, like his beginning and him like building himself up. So yeah. Let me go. American Wrestling Association 1981 to 1983. The AWA. He returned to WWF in 1983, and he was in the WWF until 1993. The Rise of Hulkamania 1983 through 84. Let me see. International Renown 1985 to 1988. I guess he was doing like international wrestling matches for like different promotions during that 3-year period. Let me see. The Mega Powers 1988. Him and the Ultimate Warrior. I think they should have won the tag team championships and had a run with those belts. And then, not the Ultimate Warrior. The Macho Man Randy Savage and Hogan. I think they should have had a run at the belts around that time. Let me see. Final WWF Championship reigns 1989 through 1993. And let me see. It's a lot of information on the Wikipedia. He returned to New Japan Pro Wrestling in 1993 and had a year run in 94. World Championship Wrestling WCW 94 through 2000. World Heavyweight Champion 1994 through 1996. Yeah, that's what I said, Kishmu, for sure. New World Order 1996 through 1999 at Bassett of the Beach on July 7th, doing a 6-man tag team match. The Outsiders, Kevin Nash and Scott Hall, rest in peace. Against Loyalist, Hogan interfered and attacked Randy Savage on behalf of Hall and Nash, thereby turning heel for the first time in nearly 15 years. And it was funny as hell, too, when he turned heel, because you had some dude in the crowd come in there and tried to do something. They was throwing all types of shit at Hogan. Look at that garbage outside of the ring. That's what I feel about all you stinking, filthy fans out here. Some of the shit that Hogan was saying. It might not have been the exact right words, though, but nobody was expecting that, too. Like, possibly one of the greatest heel turns in wrestling history. So, love him or hate him, he had his moments within the business. So, yeah. That, I don't know if it was Scott Hall or Nash. I think it was Scott Hall that was kicking the dude while he was holding on. I don't know if he was holding on to Hogan's legs, but the shit was funny as hell. They was throwing all type of trash in the ring. You would have thought it was ECW with like they was throwing all those chairs in the ring. Y'all probably know what I'm talking about. Rest in peace to him and Scott Hall. Yeah, man. Rest in peace to Scott Hall too. Definitely should have had a run at a major championship, in my opinion. Let me see. I already talked about that. The final years in WCW 1999 through 2000, the garbage ass Vince Russo years. This is why this company is going down the drainer, because of shit like this. The eye poke of death. Oh God, Jeff Jarrett laying down and Hulk Hogan just covering him up for the 1 and the 2 and the 3. Yeah, man. That's the funniest heel turn I ever seen. Shout out to you, Sheik Knight. And I do have Yu Yu Hakusho DVDs coming very soon. That stuff is very expensive too, especially like on Blu-ray. I try to get it like in one big ass box set because like Naruto like DVDs are broken up into different volumes and stuff. Why they just can't give you like a big ass Naruto shipping in box set with like all the damn episodes. I wish they wouldn't just break them up into like different series and like different volumes and stuff. I do not want Naruto. I do not want Boruto. That shit is garbage as fuck. So I don't know, man. I was two around that time, so I didn't really look at WCW like that until like later on in my life. I grew up in like the Attitude like ruthless aggression era. That was like my era, and like the PG-13 era. So I didn't grow up in like the, the WWF era. That's way before my time, so I can't really tell you nothing about that. So yeah. Post WCW endeavors 2001. Let me see. In the months following the demise of WCW on March 2001, Hulk Hogan underwent surgery on his knees in order for him to wrestle again. As a test, Hogan worked a match in Orlando, Florida on November 14th for the XWF, the Excitement Wrestling Federation, promotion run by his longtime manager Jimmy Hart. Hogan defeated Kurt Hennig in this match and felt healthy enough to accept a offer to return to WWF in 2002. And I seen that match too. Kurt Hennig hit the perfect plex, and Hogan just kicked out of it. He hulked up and just did his thing and won the match. Kurt Hennig, Mr. Perfect, very underrated wrestler too. He definitely should have had a run at one of the major championships in the WWF, if not in WCW, if he wrestled for them. So he's very underrated. A legendary wrestling figure when it comes to the Intercontinental Championship too. I don't know if he had a run with the U.S. title, but he would have definitely had a good run and a good career in WCW if he haven't, I don't know, man. It's just real sad to see like wrestling legends like that are very underrated. They had all the tools. They had everything within their reach and them not reaching it. It's just real sad. Yeah, so they have like different eras. Oh yeah, that Hogan match between him and Mr. McMahon at WrestleMania X1X. I kind of get these numbers mixed up too. I'm trying to think what WrestleMania that was when him and Mr. McMahon had that WrestleMania match, because I think it was a no holds barred match too, and I think that was the wrestling match too, because Hogan did win that match. Shane McMahon came out and was helping his father. Then Mr. McMahon gave Hogan the bird. He was bloody and shit, so that was a really funny moment too. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. WrestleMania 18. So that's cool, man. Hogan had back-to-back classic matches. WrestleMania 17 with The Rock, and then WrestleMania 18 with Mr. McMahon. That's a big rivalry, with them going back and forth. That's up there with that's up there with Mr. McMahon and Stone Cold Steve Austin. So you know how it is when it comes to the boss, Mr. McMahon. He's going through a lot of stuff right about now. The less said about him, the better. So let's move on. He had a second run in New Japan Pro Wrestling too in 2003, and he did show up to 2000. He did show up to TNA in 2003 too. He had a third run in WWE from 2005. Oh, okay, you said WrestleMania 19. Okay. Shout out to you, Yashik Knight, for the correction. He had a third run in WWE from 2005 to 2007. And I think that was around the time when him and Shawn Michaels had a match too. They had a tag team match. Then next thing you know, Shawn Michaels super kicked the shit out of Hogan. Then they had a match too. And they did have an iconic moment between him and Eugene and Muhammad Hassan, who didn't definitely get his credit. I think he had a longer run in WWE throughout that time. He could have at least been an Intercontinental Champion or at least a United States Champion. So they did have that iconic moment at WrestleMania 21 on April 3rd. Hogan came out to rescue Eugene, who was being attacked by Muhammad Hassan and Daivari. The build-up to Hogan's Hall of Fame introduction in preparation for his WrestleMania angle, as shown in the first season of Hogan's Knows Best. The next night on Raw, Hassan and Daivari came out to confront and assault fan favorite Shawn Michaels. Yeah, they did have that match. If it wasn't for UPN, let me see. Hulk Hogan did return to TNA in 2009 throughout 2013, and that was the second Monday Night War where they tried to go up against WWE, which didn't really work out. So they should have just stuck to doing their thing as TNA. It's okay to be number two because Love them or hate them, ain't nobody gonna beat WWE. They've been around too long. They got too much weight in the game. He was Dixie Carter's business partner throughout 2009 and 2010. So yeah, Immortal 2010 throughout 2011. And let me see, they did have the Aces and Eights feud from 2012 through 2013. And I can't forget that classic RKO that Randy Orton did on Hulk Hogan on the card. That's like one of many sick ass RKOs that the Legend Killer Randy Orton has did. So shout out to Randy Orton for that classic RKO. Let me see. Hulk Hogan has been described as one of the largest attractions in professional wrestling history, as a major reason why Vince McMahon's expansion of his promotion work. Wrestling historian and journalist Dave Meltzer said, "You can't possibly overrate the significance of the history of the business. His significance in the history of the business, let me correct myself, and he sold more tickets to wrestling shows than any man who have ever lived." Hogan's match with Andre the Giant at the main event on February 5th, 1988 holds America television records for a wrestling audience with a 15.2 Nielsen rating and 33 million viewers. IMB ranked Hogan as the biggest draw in professional wrestling history, ranking him number one in a list of 60 other wrestlers. In a 2022 survey, Hogan was the most often cited professional wrestler by those in the general public. Who could name a professional wrestler? Fellow wrestler Cody Rhodes said in numerous times that Hulk Hogan's WrestleMania 18 match with The Rock is the greatest match in wrestling history, and that it emphasized what professional wrestling is. Fellow WWE Hall of Fame member Bret Hart has been repeatedly critical of Hogan's wrestling abilities in 2021, saying that he didn't know a headlock from a headlamp and that he was very limited, which is very true. Hogan was very, very limited with his wrestling capability, but he did have star power, and that can very exceed wrestling ability when it comes to like certain wrestlers and stuff. So you might not think that, dudes like him, John Cena, or like other wrestlers have like a wrestling capability of like doing like iconic moves or like having different wrestling styles that can elevate a match. But they got their style and it definitely worked for them and throughout their careers on numerous occasions. You look at Hogan, okay, unbelievable look, 6'8" with 24-inch pythons. It's an incredible look. When he walks into the room, the whole room stops. Like you see it. He has got like leg structure on his shoulders. His arms are as big as somebody's legs. Former writer Vince Russo, who has previously sued, said in 2022 that more wrestlers should wrestle like Hulk Hogan as opposed to the modern day style acrobatics. I do not agree with what Vince Russo said right there. Everybody don't need to wrestle the same. I mean, WCW Cruiserweight division was definitely helping WCW around that time. Dudes like Dean Malenko, Lionheart, Chris Jericho, Rey Mysterio, like etc. Those dudes were definitely helping WCW around that time from being different. And different wrestling styles do definitely help like different wrestling promotions. So I definitely disagree 100% with Vince Russo. So the less said about Vince Russo is the better with his cartoon wrestling ass. But let's move on. Hulk Hogan has previously said that his number two behind Ric Flair, who he said is the greatest wrestler of all time. He said that Ric Flair is number one and Hulk Hogan is number two. Chris Jericho said in his podcast in 2023 that Hogan was a better worker in Flair in his experience. Hogan is a better worker than Flair. For me, I always was amazed. He said I always had amazing matches with Hogan because he knew exactly who he was as a babyface, as a heel, whenever. He was so great. He knew his audience. He did not know and did not do anything that he didn't have to. It was one of my favorite times in my career. On February 2019, it was announced that Chris Hemsworth would portray him in a biopic directed by Todd Phillips. However, in 2024, Phillips announced that the movie has been scrapped. Let me get to his championships. Hulk Hogan is a six-time WWE champion. Hulk Hogan is a two-time WWE Hall of Famer inductee, 2005 for his solo career, and 2021 as a member of the NWO International Professional Hall of Fame class of 2021. New Japan Pro Wrestling heavyweight champion, the OG version, one time. IWGP League Tournament winner 1983. MSG Tag League Tournament 1982, 1983 with Antonio Inoki. Grade 18 Club inductee, Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame Museum class of 2023. Comeback of the year 1994 and 2002. The feud of the year 1986 with Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. Is inspirational wrestler of the year 1983 and 1999. Match of the year 1985 with Mr. T plus Rodney Piper and Paul Orndorff at WrestleMania 1. Match of the year 1988 versus Andre the Giant at main event. Match of the year again 1990, the Ultimate Warrior at WrestleMania 6. That was title for title when the Ultimate Warrior won the World Heavyweight the WWF Championship, and he was the holder of the Intercontinental Championship around that time. So he was a dual champion. The match of the year again in 2002, The Rock at WrestleMania 18, the most hated wrestler of the year 1996 and 1998, the most popular wrestler of the year 1985, 1989, 1990, wrestler of the year 1987, 91, and 94, ranked number one of the top 500 single wrestlers in the PWI 500 in 1991, ranked number one of the top 500 single wrestlers of the PWI years in 2003, ranked 44 and 54 of the top tag teams of the PWI years with Antonio Inoki and Randy Savage in 2003. Southeastern Championship Wrestling, NWA Southeastern Heavyweight Champion, North Division, NWA Southeast Heavyweight Champion, South Division 2 times. Sports Illustrated ranked 2 of the 20 greatest WWE wrestlers of all time. Tokyo Sports Best Foreign Wrestler 1983. Match of the year 1991. I don't even know how to say this dude's name, but it was on December 12th, 1991. World Championship Wrestling, WCW World Heavyweight Championship 6 times. World Wrestling Federation slash WWE Champion 6 times. WWE Tag Team Championship with Edge, a 2-time Royal Rumble winner, a 2-time WWE Hall of Famer, Wrestling Observer Newsletter, Strongest Wrestler 1983, Best Babyface. Let me correct myself. 1982 through 1991. Best Box Office Draw 1997. Best Gimmicks 1996 as a member of the New World Order (NWO). I already read that one. Most Charismatic 1985 through 87, 1989 through 91. Most Embarrassing Wrestler 1995, 1996, 99, and 2000. Most Obnoxious Wrestler 94 and 95. Most Overrated Wrestler 1985, 86, 1994 through 1998. Readers' Least Favorite Wrestler 85, 86, 91, 1994 through 1999. Worst Wrestling Feud of the Year 1991 versus Sergeant Slaughter. Worst Feud of the Year again 1995 versus the Dungeon of Doom. What's up, Sean? How you doing, man? Long time no see. Just reporting on this passing of Hogan. You know, everybody having their ones and twos about it on Twitter. So, you know, I just wanted to do a Twitter space about it. Worst Wrestling Feud of 1998, The Ultimate Warrior. Worst Wrestling Feud of 2000, Hulk Hogan versus Billy Kidman. They definitely didn't need to have that match. Worst On Interviews 1995. Worst Wrestler 1997. Worst Worked Match of the Year 1987 versus Andre the Giant at WrestleMania 3. He won it again in 1996 with Randy Savage versus Armstrong, Ming, the Barbarian, Ric Flair, Kevin Sullivan, Z Gangsta, I don't even know who the fuck that is, the Ultimate Solution, in a Towers of Doom match at Uncensored. Worst Match of the Year 1997 versus Rodney Piper at Super Brawl 7. Worst work match of the year 1998 versus the Ultimate Warrior at Halloween Havoc. Wrestling Observer Newsletter Hall of Fame class of 1996. So yeah, this is all Hogan's accolades, championships, awards, etc., etc., etc. But yeah, man. With that being said, rest in peace to Hogan. Love him or hate him, you know, he was a wrestling legend, and he was an icon throughout the business and throughout pop culture. But you know, with that being said, that's all I have to say because this video has been too long. Shout out to Sean, shout out to Yashik Knight, shout out to Q Smooth, shout out to everybody that's gonna listen to this on the playback, and shout out to everybody who's gonna listen to this when they get a chance to. But with that being said, rest in peace to Hogan, and shout out to y'all. I don't know when I'm doing another live stream, but I have to see because I just been chilling most of the time. But when I get a chance, I'll do one very soon. But I might do a Twitter space on Hogan passing away, but I think everybody and their grandmother gonna already be doing the shit. So with that being said, thank y'all for looking at the video, and I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace out, y'all.